Hello, everybody, and welcome to another inspiring episode of Founders Gyan. This is episode 27, and each week we bring you the inspiring story of a startup and the founder behind the same. This week we are featuring Shruti Ajmera Reddy, the co founder of RentSetGo.co. That is the words Rent, Set, Go, all together.co. The simplest way to describe this startup is as a peer to peer rental marketplace. More on that later in the show. Do check out the show notes over at www.foundersgyan.com/EP27 and also go to foundersgyan.com/top to listen to the top listened podcasts on the show. Enough dilly-dallying. Now let's get onward with the show.
You can travel all around the world riding on your little bicycle. You cross rivers, climb up the mountains, and you meet so many friends. Tell me what you see. Tell me what you see. Tell me what you see.
Shruti, welcome to the show. I'm very excited to be chatting with you today. A quick brief on Shruti. She's the co-founder of RentSetGo.co, an online marketplace that facilitates peer-to-peer rentals as well as mom and pop / micro entrepreneur renting of all your outdoor gear needs. From thrilling motorbikes to high endurance cycles, from awesome camping gear to expensive cameras and lenses, rent away super cool gear at extremely affordable prices and get on to your adventures. That's what RentSet Go aims to do and is doing currently. A master's in finance management by education, Shruti has worked in various roles in various companies before RentSet Go. Shruti, great to meet you, and thanks a lot for taking time out of your busy schedule to share your knowledge, wisdom, and time with our listeners. Thank you for agreeing to be on the show.
Thanks, Ram. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, excellent. Now let's talk a bit about your journey. So, can you fill in the blanks from the intro about your journey before RentSet Go?
Sure. So just before RentSet Go, I was on the investing side and I worked for a firm called Mumbai Angels. In fact, that was one of the tipping points for me to venture into starting something of my own. The experience of meeting founders every day and the kind of exciting journey that they were going through, it really inspired me to start something of my own. So I worked with Mumbai Angels for about 2 years. Before that, I was based out of Delhi working for a $1 billion family group called Sugal and Damani. My role primarily were around finance and investment side as well as new initiatives. I did my graduation from Sri Ram College of Commerce, Delhi. And after that, as you pointed out, I did my master's from Durham Business School, UK.
Okay, excellent. Thanks a lot, Shruti, for that. Now, let's talk a bit about the origin of RentSet Go. So, can you explain in a few sentences what is RentSet Go and how did you guys come up with the idea for this?
Sure. So RentSet Go was founded by me and my husband, who's also my CTO, Suneet, and we essentially wanted to build a marketplace where experiences are preferred over possessions, or consumerism was not looked at in the way it is today, and we wanted to focus our energies on creating more and more experiences for our users. This idea came about through our own personal journey that we kind of experienced in 2014 sometime, when the two of us planned a trip and we wanted to do something different. We wanted to do something activity based, and we picked up cycling across Kerala as one of the activities we wanted to try out. Turns out neither of us had ever actually ridden a geared bicycle, a high-end bike before. And we just, sort of thought, okay, let's just go pick one. I mean, it's just a bicycle, right? So how much would it maximum be? Being a complete newbie in this space, essentially. But our focus was this, right? We wanted to ride across the hills of Kerala. That's all that we wanted to do. We didn't care much about we didn't know much about bicycles and stuff. We walked into a store, realized one bicycle is worth 50 grand, the one that we were supposed to ride. And then the Gujarati brain sort of came in, and what? It doesn't make sense to spend a lakh on something that we don't even know whether we'd like to do, or it's not something that we see ourselves doing every day. So that kind of prompted a thought that, hey, listen, why do we have to spend so much on something before even trying it out? Why do we have to spend something on we know that we won't use as much, and let's just try renting it out. And it turned out that we could rent it for 10% of the cost for an entire month, wherein we could train on the bike. We learned how to ride it. We did all our sort of experiments on it and figured out how to have a good ride at the end of the trip. And that's what mattered. Today we remember the trip more than which bike we rode and how we rode it or where we rode it. So yeah, essentially Rent Set Go came out of that idea.
Okay, so that's a great story. Now, you did manage to rent the bike at 10% of the cost, but was it difficult? Did you have to go through multiple shops, through multiple people? How does Rent Set Go address that specific problem of renting these gears?
Right. So you basically hit the nail on its head, right? So absolutely, we had to speak to like 10 of our friends, some who were into cycling, to figure out which place to go to or what brand to buy, or Google out. All the options and the suggestions that we were getting, they were more confusing than actually solving our problem. And then just one day we just decided to walk into a store and hey, listen, we'll pick that colorful bike. But that's not how we take decisions, right? So and then the bigger pain point was that, okay, now that you have a bike that you can rent, how do you transport it? Like, how do I get it home? I can't just ride like some 20 kilometers to my house, and especially when I don't even know how to ride it properly. So discovery was an issue. Logistics was an issue. Payment was another issue. And the whole experience itself was very painful. So Rent Set Go sort of came out of that, and we figured that, okay, listen, we want to split this whole journey into different experiences and make each experience of getting a bike and making sure that you get to ride it at your convenience a good overall experience. So that's what Rent Set Go aims to sort of target and fill those gaps as well.
Okay, excellent. Now, what are the for our budding founders listening out there? Can you tell us some tips and tricks on how to come up with a winning idea?
Well, I think ideas are crazy and dime a dozen. I think the entire winning bit lies in the execution. I don't think like Flipkart of the world, it's not just entirely based on an idea of buying and selling online, but it's how they manage to do it and how they're still doing it. I think the same, we are also a very young company right now, and we are learning a lot along the way. For us, what has worked is hiring a great team, having people with the right kind of motivations as us on board, and just being open to ideas and trying out whatever it takes to crack this market open for us.
Okay, excellent. So I think you hit the nail on the head rightly about an idea is worth nothing until it's executed properly. So can you give us some tips on what we can do to turn the idea into a reality? You could maybe take your own example of your own company, and what did you guys do once you had the initial idea? And how did you build the company, build the product, etc.? Can you take us through that journey?
Sure. So that was a very interesting phase for us. So it was Suneet and me and another friend of ours who was helping us build the tech platform. So I was lucky enough to find an excellent CTO in my partner, and we both sort of set out to do it ourselves. We built in today's day and age, there's so many tools that are free tools, in fact, that are available to just push an app out there, to build it and push it out there and give it in consumers' hands, and just experiment and learn from your early set of adopters. So we did essentially just that. Our for first 6 months. Our burn was just about, I think, $800 for the domain that we had bought. Rest all of it, I was out in the streets talking to people, meeting, the communities that we thought we could target, and just getting their feedback, putting it back into the app. Suneet was building it day in and day out, and Suneet was involved in it. He was moonlighting on this, and I was essentially sitting on it, and we were using all sorts of tools. We, in fact, funnily enough, used OLX ourselves, and saw if there were people renting out. So apparently, you can buy, sell, and rent on OLX, but not just property, but even products. So we found like some early users and lenders on OLX who were sort of not happy with the platform because OLX caters to buy and sell more than rent. So there again, we saw an opportunity. We started talking to these guys. And essentially just got out there. We ran small experiments, had some ideas in mind that, okay, this is our hypothesis. And if few consumers validate it, we'll sort of build deeper, and we'll go deeper into it. So those early experiments is what really helped us take off. And then one fine day, we raised a seed round internally from friends and family, and set up an office, got some guys onto it, got like an amazing team, and then just started pushing it out there.
Okay, excellent. Now, let's talk a bit more about the differentiation of your platform. Now, I believe there are several competitors out there who kind of are into the same business, renting rentals, basically. So what differentiates Rent Set Go?
I think our approach from day one was pretty, specific, that what we wanted to do in terms of how we wanted to approach our consumers, how we wanted what categories we wanted to target, and why we wanted to target them. So we were a mobile first company. We developed an Android app, and because we wanted to sort of have both peers on the lending and borrowing side onto our platform. So, having a mobile app is just very easy. You can just point, shoot, and upload a product immediately onto our platform, and that's it, you're live. And on the user side, you always have your cell phone in your hand, so you can search for products wherever you are. No constraints. Over a period of time, we learned that most of our borrowers were essentially coming onto were coming on our website and trying to find products there, but we just had a landing page there. We didn't offer products on our website. So gradually we realized that, app adoption will take its own time, and we have to kind of focus on the web too. So within a couple of weeks, we had our website up and running, and we did that in phases. We never, in a startup, there's never like, okay, yeah, this is one day when you're launching something. You're just launching everything, something new every day. So it kind of is a very, evolving process. So so that's how we kind of went about implementing and putting our idea out into the public.
Okay, excellent. Now let's talk a bit. Let's get into a personal question. Now we all hear about founders sacrificing family time to make their ventures a success. Can you tell us a bit more about your own family? And obviously, you just told that your husband also is the co-founder. But how do you guys manage to balance business and family?
It's a tough one. We are still learning. I think because the good bit is that because both of us realize that business takes time, and it takes a toll on your time and on your life and on how you sort of are living it as well. We both kind of understand the demands of it, so we are way more appreciative of the time that we spend together. And I think we're yet to see a slowdown of our phase. But so far, I think just because you understand the other person, it kind of you just are more understanding, and you kind of balance it out. But yeah, we're from morning till night till our eyes are shut. We're just talking about Rent Set Go. So that's a bit irritating at times when you don't have anything else to talk about, but just your business.
Okay, yeah, I can kind of understand. Now let's talk. So Since you're a woman entrepreneur, I usually ask this question to all my women entrepreneurs, and the answers are very interesting and varied. So, how difficult is it to be a woman entrepreneur in predominantly a male-dominated society? And what advice would you give specifically to women entrepreneurs listening out there?
Well, don't think of yourself as a woman entrepreneur. Just think of yourself as an entrepreneur. That's all that it is. I mean, everyone sort of faces their own specific challenges. I mean, I don't perceive it also as that, but I never faced a challenge just because I was a woman. And I don't see it as a male dominating. I just refuse to believe that it's a male dominating sort of an environment. I just go out there and do my work and just give my best shot and see how it goes. I don't kind of differentiate or sort of expect a preferential treatment just because I'm a woman. So yeah.
Okay, excellent. I really like that answer. Now, let's move across to another personal question. So, is there a morning or a daily ritual that you follow? Can you share it with myself and our listeners? It could be a personal habit like, say, working out every day, or a professional habit like, say, setting some tasks for the day and working through them. So, whichever you think is something that you have to do on a daily basis.
So Sunit and I both, in fact, have been active all our lives in terms of interest in sports or otherwise. So some physical activity is definitely a part of our ritual daily, be it going to the gym, swimming, or going for a run. That sort of helps us, release that excess stress or whatever it is, those unutilized energies, they kind of go in the right direction that way. In terms of professional rituals, I mean, I don't open mails till like 12 in the afternoon. I focus on big tasks and get them done early in the morning. Mails, they tend to distract you and sort of get you off the track. And they're setting priorities.
Okay, excellent. So I guess I was a bit lucky. You answered my mail before 12 for confirming today's podcast. So guess I was a bit lucky there. Huh?
I was too excited for this.
Okay, cool. If you like the show, do follow us on Facebook and Twitter. The link is www.facebook.com/foundersgyan and twitter.com/foundersgyan. Both these provide you daily tips and articles as well as resources to help and inspire your startup. There are multiple tips per day. Some examples of these tips would be articles on the latest startups, growth hacking tips, how do you build team for startups, how to get funding, etc. So don't forget facebook.com/foundersgyan and twitter.com/foundersgyan. Now, can you tell us something about yourself that is not commonly known?
Oh, wow. Okay. I was a dancer at one point that I don't think is commonly known. I used to dance for a company called DanceWorks. I was part of the company, and I think I wish I can sort of take out time again to explore and go back to that part of my life again. But I really loved dancing, and I still do.
Okay. I wish you luck. I mean, surely, I'm sure you will be able to carve out some time if you're interested in that. So, let's move on to a question about advice. Now, what's the best advice somebody has given you, or alternatively, best advice you have heard?
I would have to say it's come. I mean, it's kind of like a variant of the same advice that's come from my parents, my in-laws, these are the guys that I sort of look up to every time, I have a personal challenge or a professional challenge, is that, failures are sort of the milestones along the road. They will come no matter what, but they're not the end destination. You have to just sort of keep going past them and not stop there.
Okay, excellent advice. So failures it's a variation of failures are the stepping stones to success, right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, brilliant advice. I really like it. Now, we all know that startups come with a lot of pressure. And so can you give us some tips on how we can handle pressure when things aren't going well?
I think having a good set of people around you at that point really helps. And I just don't mean personally, but even professionally, having a good team that sort of you're able to kind of break off from the pressures and sort of focus on the human aspect of things, and just sort of devoting some time, taking that just one break really gives you that. That time that you need to just sort of recuperate and get back on the horse. So for me, I think that's what's worked. Whenever there's been excessive stress, it's just that one tiny little break that just sort of makes me jump back up. That's always helped.
Okay, excellent. Now, can you tell us about your worst entrepreneurial moment, and how did you turn it around, and the lessons you learned from that experience?
Worst, I don't know if there's one that sort of tops the list yet. I mean, there've been many sort of bad moments, but not really like something that we couldn't turn around from or couldn't learn from and sort of get back quickly onto it.
So can you tell us something that sticks in your mind which might be useful for our listeners?
I think I've had my best and the worst moments while hiring. I think I see that as the biggest challenge that any entrepreneur can face, because in my mind, I'm pretty clear business is run by people and not by money or anything else. So wrong hiring mistake really takes you back. And if it is a hiring mistake, you're supposed you should be able to correct it, and also ensure that whoever is leaving your team, finds their next project before they kind of leave you or say goodbye or whatever. But I think those are the biggest lows that I have faced in terms of downturns.
Okay, great. Now let's retouch on Rent Set Go. Now, what is the revenue model of Rent Set Go, and what is the future you envision for the company?
So our revenue model is pretty simple. We charge a transaction fee because for the value that we provide both to a user and a lender. It's per transaction. And in terms of our future plans, we are at a very, very interesting point right now. We just, Mumbai was our playground. We did all sorts of things. We learned a lot from traditional businesses, new age consumers, older consumers. So now, we are at the right point in time where we are looking to take that next big leap, and we are already in place to start setting up our operations in a couple of other major transit cities where we see a lot of travelers traffic and leisure kind of traffic coming in.
Okay. Are you sorry? Are you starting soon in Bangalore? I would really like to try and use your service, and of course meet you.
Yeah, definitely. Bangalore is definitely on the maps, and so is Delhi. These two are key markets which we are sort of ready to take on, and this is the first, I think, public forum that I'm kind of sharing this news on. So we are now in place to get that started.
Okay, excellent. Good luck with that. Now, I just had a quick question on the rental model, which I think will be very interesting for our listeners. Now, in case of things like, let's say you're hiring a bike or a car, there is an insurance that covers the vehicle. But in case of things like a camera or a bicycle, etc., what exactly happens if there is a damage or there is an accident? How exactly does the platform cover such a scenario, or what is the guidelines you issue for your renters and borrowers to avoid a problem in such a scenario?
Right. So I feel we wanted to basically, when we first started out, I mean, this was the first question that anyone would ever ask us, even lenders who were into the business of lending. So we were pretty this was the first problem that we tried to solve, and I think we're still solving it and we're still evolving it. What we started with is how could we use the traditional model of insuring a product? And by insuring, I mean not insurance, but how traditional businesses are doing this offline, and how can we kind of replicate that onto our platform, and then also add, the nuances of technology that can help make this process better. So one of the things that the traditional businesses do is they take security deposit, which in India, wherein the payment systems are such that you cannot block a credit card like you can in the US, it seemed like an obvious choice. What we have done, however, is that we've given lender the choice of whether you want to charge a particular user a security deposit or not. Now, being early into the business, or being, we're just starting out, so we're getting a lot of new consumers today. It's very difficult to start building their reputation. So in the back end, we are building a reputation model that essentially assesses how a user and a lender behave on our platform. And we are able to assign them some certain kind of a credit score, which essentially helps us identify, potential fraudulent activities or potential good consumers, and how we can sort of push them forward, and how we can help lender take that decision of whether or not they want to lend a product to a user. But again, all of these things start to play a bigger role at scale when you have users, in millions, and when you have repeats coming in. So that's why we use traditional models of taking a security deposit, or in some cases even ID proofs, and then evolving it to a more technology-based solution to insure products.
Okay, excellent answer. Now, we just have a few more questions. Now, can you recommend any books or resources for our budding entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I'm right now rereading Founders at Work. It was gifted to me by Suneet. So it's just one of those books that sort of captivates you, and it's written by, I think, Jessica Livingston. It's a brilliant book. Before that, I was reading Peter Thiel's 0 to 1. It's an interesting book, but for me, it requires another reread for me to actually just, absorb it entirely. But yeah, these two books I would highly recommend.
Okay, excellent. We will link those up on the show notes. Now, Rentset Go is close to 1.5 years old, 1 year, 3 to 4 months, I would guess, right? Mm-hmm. And hindsight is always 2020. But if you were to do things different when you started out, what would it be?
Yeah. Okay. So I think this was a very personal change that I felt. I think I would take much quicker decisions. I would not foster longer on hiring mistakes, like I mentioned earlier. I think it took me a lot of time to realize that, there's a difference in the way businesses run today versus how it was probably run in my dad's days, or in my in the older days, where, till you don't start getting profits or something, you don't think about, you think more about conserving cash than spending or investing. So I think the difference between conserving cash versus investing cash, I think I've kind of understood that now, trying out, experimenting and learning on Rentset Go.
Okay, excellent. Now, I just have one final question, but before we move on to that, how can our listeners get in touch with you? Are you active on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter? What's the best way to reach out to you?
LinkedIn and Twitter. Twitter also, I'm kind of getting hooked onto it now, but LinkedIn, I'm always reachable on LinkedIn. You can sort of find me by Shruti Ajmera Reddy. That I think you should be able to find me there. Yeah.
Okay, and what's your Twitter handle? We'll link those up on the show notes.
It's at Shruti Ajmera.
Okay, excellent. We'll link those up on the show notes. So I just have one final question. But before we move on to that, I just want to take the time to acknowledge and thank you for sharing your knowledge to myself and our listeners. I'm also very grateful for the value you're adding into the world and the startup community by means of your startup. So with that, we'll move on to the final question. If there's one gyan that you could give our would-be founders, what would that be?
Go out there and try it out, man. you can't know anything sitting in front of your laptop or sitting, in one place. You have to just go outside and try it out. Only then that's the best way to kind of know whether something would work or something wouldn't. But just go out and try it out.
Okay, brilliant advice, Shruti. I really like it, and I'm sure our listeners too would like it. So thank you so much for your time, and it was a real pleasure chatting with you. And wish you continued success in your venture.
Thank you, Ram. It was a pleasure being here.
There you have it, folks. Another great startup and story of its founder. I do hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did in producing it. Do check out the show notes over at foundersgyan.com/EP27, and please do subscribe to the show via iTunes, RSS, or just plain old email. You can do all this on the show notes page. In case you think this show is useful and interesting, do recommend it to your friends. I'll see you all next week with yet another startup and founder. But till then, you know what the show is meant to do. I do hope you found this inspiring and do take action on your startup today. See you all next week and have a great time till then.